Hello children, welcome to AIMS India's online classes. This is biology session. We are discussing habitat and adaptations in living organisms. Okay, so today let us discuss the living things such as plants and animals in a habitat or its the biotic components. It's an ecosystem. The part which we are discussing come under ecology, study of living organisms in relation to environment. Okay, the living things such as plants and animals in a habitat or its biotic components. The various non-living things also, such as rocks. The several non-living things also plays an important role in the life of living organisms, like rocks, soil, air and water in the habitat. It constitute the abiotic components. Biotic components means living components. Abiotic components, non-living components. The sunlight and heat also abiotic components of the habitat. We know that some plants grow from the seeds, but it require some abiotic components. What are they? Soil, moisture, air, optimum temperature. These are all required for the germination of a seed. Okay, and we discussed about the adaptations in animals in the previous in the last class. What is the adaptation? The adaptation does not take place in a short time. Over thousands of years, the abiotic factors of a region change. So those animals which cannot adapt to these changes die. They are eliminated from the nature, and only the adapted ones survive, isn't it? The animals adapt to different abiotic factors in different ways, as a result of which a variety of organisms present in different habitats, isn't it children? Aerial animals, arboreal animals, aquatic animals, terrestrial animals. Okay, like that the different animals and their habitats. So here one interesting phenomenon we observed. Okay, the small changes that takes place in the body of a single organism over short periods to overcome the small problems due to changes in the surroundings, they are called acclimatization. Acclimatization means adjust to the environment. So some small changes took place in the animals to adjust to the environment. So such small changes help the animals to adjust. They are called acclimatization. When an animal introduced into a new environment, or a living organism introduced in a new environment, small changes took place first. So those small changes are called acclimatization. Okay children, so here in the today's video we are going to discuss about the adaptations in plants. You know very well, plants are found almost everywhere. We can see plants growing on mountains, seashores, deserts, plains and even in water. Okay, the scientists have discovered well over 3,80,000 different types of plants. 3,80,000 only known plants, unknown so many. Okay, so the plants growing in different areas have different features. Depending on the place where they grow, plants can be divided into different groups, mainly two groups: terrestrial plants and aquatic plants. Terrestrial plants and aquatic plants. Terrestrial means the plants growing on land. Aquatic means the plants growing in water. So today we discuss more about the terrestrial habitat of plants. Are you ready, children? Let us proceed. Terrestrial plants. The plants that grow on land are called terrestrial plants. There are various kinds of terrestrial plants depending on different habitats. Okay, one by one let us see. The plants of cold hilly areas are the plants which grow on mountains. Plants which grow on mountains. If you see the plants, generally the habitats of mountain are normally very cold and windy. In some areas, even snowfall may take place in winter. There are large variety of plants and animals living in the mountain regions. Okay? Have you visited mountain region any time, children? If you visit, you might have seen a large number of trees like pine trees which usually grow, fir, cedar, spruce. These kind of trees you might have seen or observed in the mountain regions which are growing there. How are these trees adapted to conditions prevailing in their habitat? So what are the main conditions there? Very windy, very cold, okay, even snowfall in the winter. These are the conditions. Okay, let us see how these plants adapted in those areas. In cold hilly areas, for example Kashmir, Ooty and Himachal Pradesh, the trees grow very tall and straight. It is one adaptation. They grow tall and straight. Many of them have needle-like leaves. They bear cones instead of flowers. Flowers are absent. Flowers are very delicate because wind is blowing there. So, in place of flowers, they bear cones. For example, pine, cedar, spruce, fir, these plants are called conifers. What do you call? Conifers. The plants which produce cones in place of instead of flowers, they are called conifers. Okay, so these are the cones you can see. See the leaves, needle like. Okay, in place of flowers, they are producing cones. That's why they are called conifers. So how are these trees adapted to conditions prevailing in their habitat? These trees are normally cone shaped and have sloping branches. See the branches here, sloping branches. These leaves of some of the trees are needle like, and this helps the rainwater and snow to slide off easily. There could be trees with shapes very different from these that are also present on mountains. They may have different kind of adaptations to survive on mountains. Okay? So the plants of cold hilly areas. The plants growing in mountains or cold regions are generally tall and straight. This is one of the adaptation. They are cone shaped. The cone shaped protects them from strong winds and rainfall. They have needle like leaves with waxy coating which helps water and snow to slip off easily. These trees do not bear the flowers. Instead of flowers, they bear cones. So these cone shaped trees are called conifers. Okay, the plants of cold hilly regions, they are called conifers. You can see example: pine, cedar, fir, spruce. Okay, pine, cedar, see the tall, they are tall and straight, these trees. Spruce, it is also one of the conifer. The plants that grow in hilly areas do not need stagnant water, which may damage their roots and degrade them. So to face high speed winds and cold, it is the conical shape, the needle like shaped leaves, they possess. So that helps to face the high speed winds. Okay. Next, plants of the plains. The plants of plains, you can come across. The trees growing in the plains have lots of branches and leaves. They are bushy. They have more space. They have more space to spread. Their leaves are very flat. You see the trees there: pine tree, oak tree, wiregrass. Okay, the swamp, wax myrtle, see, bushy. Okay, even you can consider banyan tree, neem tree, mango, peepal. These are all the plants which grow on plains. Their leaves are flat. They shed their leaves once in a year. Therefore, they are called deciduous trees. The trees and plants of the plains mostly have many branches and numberless leaves. We can't count. The leaves are renewed periodically. Renewed means replaced, grow again. For example, fir, deodar, cedar, small flowerless plants, ferns, lichens, and mosses. They are all the examples of the plants which grow in the plains. Okay, banyan, neem, sal, shisham, mango, peepal, these are all called the deciduous trees. Why they are called deciduous trees? They shed their leaves once in a year. That's why they are called deciduous trees. Even we have deciduous forests. Okay. Next, the plants of hot and damp areas. Hot and damp. The trees growing in a hot and wet climate, they have many leaves. They do not shed their leaves at once. Therefore, they remain green throughout the year. A few leaves are lost once every year. So that is why they are called evergreen trees. The plants growing of hot and damp areas, they are called evergreen trees. Rubber, cotton, coconut, sugarcane, these are all evergreen trees. Okay, many kinds of plants grow best where it is hot and wet. Palm, tamarind, rubber and coconut, these are some of the trees that grow well in this type of climate. So the trees have a lot of leaves, evergreen throughout the year, and do not shed the leaves during winter. So that's why they are called evergreen trees. Okay. So you can see this, a palm tree, sago palm. The trees are evergreen, they won't shed the leaves, persistent. Okay. They are very green. Okay, they prefer very hot and damp conditions. Okay. Next, plants of marshy land. Marshy means wet, swampy. The marshy areas have clayey and sticky soil. The trees growing in these areas are called mangroves. Here, the soil is covered with water, so the roots do not get air because very clayey and sticky soils. Okay, they do not get air to breathe, so they come out of the soil to breathe. So these type of roots are called breathing roots. The plants growing in the marshy lands like mangroves, they show special root system, breathing roots. The plants that have clayey soil and plenty of water, particularly the places that have clayey soil and plenty of water, and the water cannot drain away, so it is called, it collects, or it stagnate in the soil. Mangrove trees grow in such marshy places or swampy areas. So this is a mangrove. Okay, mangrove trees. The roots of the plants in marshy lands have breathing roots that grow above the ground to take in the air they need instead of under the soil. So these are the roots, special roots which are growing above the ground. Such roots are called breathing roots. Okay, the plants are called mangroves, mangrove trees. Mangrove forests are there in the coastal areas. Okay, such roots are called the aerial or breathing roots. It is an adaptation. The adaptations of the plants growing of marshy lands. What is the adaptation? They possess breathing roots or aerial roots. What is the example of the plants? Mangroves. Next, let us see the places that have clayey soil and plenty of water, and the water cannot drain away, which collects in the soil. That such kind of places are called marshy places. So you can see the examples here. Some insectivorous plants, sundew plant, Drosina. Okay, the Venus flytrap is a carnivorous plant, insectivorous plant. The plant of native to the subtropical wetlands on the east coast of United States, in the North Carolina and South Carolina plains in America. These type of plants we can see, insectivorous plants. Venus flytrap, it generally grows in nitrogen deficient soils and is an insectivorous plant. Okay, in order to overcome the nitrogen deficiency in the soils, they feed on insects, so they are called insectivorous plants. They also grow in which type of soil? Marshy lands. Okay, the area with swampy conditions. The plants of grass family, you know very well, grass, even our paddy belongs to the grass family. They are food crops. Okay, wheat, rice or cereals, food grain crops. Some common varieties of the plants that belongs to the grass family are rice, wheat, jowar, bajra, sugarcane, Even bamboo belongs to the grass family. People have used grasses for a long time. The people eat parts of the grasses, corn, wheat, barley, oats, rice, and millet are the cereal crops. Cereals, the common grains whose seeds are used for food and to make alcohol, okay, such as beverages, beer. Okay, barley is used. Sugar comes from sugarcane, which is also a plant in the grass family. They require more water. They grow in a clayey soil. Okay, so they are seasonal crops grown in 2 seasons, Kharif and Rabi seasons. It is the main food crop. Rice is the main food crop. Okay. Their root system, the plant body is suitable for growing in the clayey soils. Plants in the desert. In desert, the conditions are different. Okay, so if you take a desert, the conditions vary. The desert plant lose very little water through transpiration. You know very well, a mechanism by which the plant lose the water, it is called transpiration. The leaves in the desert plants are either absent, if they are present are also very small, or they are present in the shape of spines. This helps in reducing the loss of water from the leaves through transpiration. The leaf-like structures you see in cactus is in fact its stem. The photosynthesis in these plants is usually carried out by the stems. The stem is also covered with a thick waxy layer which helps to retain water. Most desert plants have the roots that go very deep into the soil for absorbing water. Okay, that is the adaptation of the desert plants. Okay, you see this cactus, the cacti. The stem is usually takes the responsibility of photosynthesis. It is not the leaf, it is the stem. Okay, the ground in the desert is very dry. There is very little water as it rains very rarely. So in the desert the conditions are morning are very hot, nights are very cool. The desert plants' roots are adapted to get whatever water is available. Even a drop of rain also they can utilize. The plants like cactus of many kinds have roots that are spread far out just under the surface of the soil. Okay, in a desert there is a shortage of water. The plants like cactus, prickly pear, and palm grew in the desert. Certain palm trees also in desert. The leaves are modified into spines. You can see the spines here. The leaves are modified into spines to reduce the loss of water. This protects the plants from animals also. The stem is green and fleshy. The stem is green and fleshy. Leaves of the cactus are like sharp spines. This prevents the loss of water from the leaves. And the stem is fleshy. It contains chlorophyll. It prepares food for the plant and also stores food and water. Okay? Roots go deep underground to absorb water from the soil quickly. Okay, children. What are the examples of the plants grow in the desert? Cactus, palm. Okay. So these are the adaptations. You can see wonderful adaptations in the plants. Okay, in the next video. I hope you understood. Please read the textbook. Thank you for watching our video, and please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.